Welcome to Skedlive. It is Thursday, November 18. I'm your host, Hasil Mehta. I'm joined by my co-host, Christina Shadrina. And here's what's making news today. BC Premier John Horgan declared a state of emergency on Wednesday after deadly mudslides and floods over the weekend. One person has died and at least 2 people are missing. Thousands of people are out of their homes across the province. Officials expect the death toll to rise. Defense Minister Anita Anand has tweeted, Canadian Armed Forces personnel and resources would be deployed to assist with the aftermath. Flooding has cut off major transportation routes. All rail service coming to and from Port of Vancouver is halted. This is expected to cause major supply chain issues across Canada. Grocery store shelves in BC have started to empty out due to panic buying and limited supply. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is in Washington, D.C. for the North American Leaders Summit. Trudeau will meet with his American and Mexican counterparts to discuss trade, vaccines, and migration woes. Trudeau is expected to push back on a U.S. infrastructure bill which incentivizes purchase of American-made electric vehicles. Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland says the incentive program is in violation of the new NAFTA agreement. Trudeau met with congressional leaders on Wednesday and raised Canada's concerns on the proposed program. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden drove an electric vehicle in Detroit promoting the bill. This is first trilateral meeting between 3 amigos in last 5 years. Canadian Blood Services will recommend an end to ban on gay and bisexual men from donating blood. It will ask Health Canada to drop questions on sexuality and gender for potential blood donors. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promised in 2015 to end this offensive practice. Canada introduced this ban in 1992, a policy largely implemented after the AIDS scare. The AIDS epidemic has been linked with homophobia and negative attitudes towards the LGBTQ+ community. Once Canadian Blood Services submits its recommendation, Health Canada will have to approve it. Now let's go to Christina for some more health news.
Thanks, Hansel. Health Canada will approve Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for kids aged 5 to 11 tomorrow. According to Pfizer BioNTech's research, the vaccine shot is almost 91% effective at blocking symptomatic infections in kids under 11 years old. The vaccine uses the same mRNA technology for the children's shot, but in smaller dosage. It's 1/3 the size given to adults and teenagers aged 12 and older. In October, Canada signed a deal with Pfizer to secure nearly 3 million doses for kids. The vaccine will be shipped after Health Canada's official approval. Canada will lift negative PCR test requirements for those coming back from the U.S. However, the rules for vaccinations will only apply to fully vaccinated travelers who have been outside of the country for 3 days or less. PCR test requirements will remain in place for those traveling for longer than 72 hours, regardless of vaccination status. The U.S. has also opened its land border for non-essential travel on November 8. Fully vaccinated travelers crossing the border by land or ferry are not required to present a negative PCR or an antigen test. However, the antigen test requirement will remain in place for air travel. Health Canada has approved the use of Pfizer and Moderna booster shots for adults 18 years and older. To learn more about the difference between the third dose and the booster shot, Skedlive's Tatiana Furtado speaks to Sandra Garrix, program coordinator of the pharmacy technician program at Humber College. For more on the story, check out skedlive.com. This is all for today's news. Now let's check in with Saloni Bugra to see what's happening with the weather.
Thank you, Christina. I am Saloni Bugra. More rain is expected over Vancouver and British Columbia over the next week. Heavy rainfall is predicted on Thursday, but should go lighter heading into next week. Weather alerts for winter storms remain in place for the very north of the West region. In a Toronto Star report, experts say the challenge is understanding that climate change is about understanding trends over longer periods of time, not individual instances. BC's recurring extreme weather events can largely be predicted by experts, but it's considerably more difficult to point at these particular heat waves, wildfires, and floods as being the direct result of climate change. Experts said these events will increase due to multiple factors like climate change, and that these events were predicted at least 30 to 40 years ago. Let's see what the weather in Toronto looks like. Today is going to be cloudy with a high of 8 and a low of 1 degree. Friday is going to be partly cloudy, but temperature will drop to a high of 6 and a low of 1. Saturday will be cloudy again, bringing rain on Sunday with a high of 8 and a low of 3. On Monday, Toronto will experience rain and snow as the temperature drops to -2 degrees. This is all for weather today. Let's see what Josh Welch has for entertainment.
Thanks, Loni. Here's what is making news in lifestyle and entertainment. Canadian Indigenous author Norma Dunning has been awarded the 2021 Governor-General's Literary Award for English Language Fiction. The Edmonton-born Inuk writer is taking home the English Language Fiction Prize for her short story collection, Tana, The Unseen Ones. It features 6 stories, each centered on a modern-day Inuk character living in southern Canada, whose circumstances range from homelessness to extravagant wealth, young to old, alive to dead, but their experiences of isolation echo from story to story. The Governor-General's Literary Awards are among Canada's oldest and most prestigious prizes for literature. There are several categories, with $25,000 going to each winning book. Multiverses are colliding in the third and new Spider-Man film with Tom Holland. The highly anticipated second trailer premiered Tuesday at a fan event in Los Angeles, which featured Tobey Maguire-era villains Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, and Sandman. Andrew Garfield's universe of Electro and Lizard also made an appearance. Rumors continue to speculate whether or not both Spider-Men will make any appearance at all. We won't find out until Spider-Man No Way Home swings into theaters December 17th. The Harry Potter cast will come together in the new year for a reunion. Harry Potter 20th Anniversary Return to Hogwarts will be a television special set to premiere on HBO Max January 1st. We can expect to see Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, Emma Watson, and other cast members, along with director Christopher Columbus, get together and reflect on the Harry Potter universe. The cast will return to the original Hogwarts boarding school sets that were featured in the first film, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. J.K. Rowling, the author of the books, will not make an appearance due to controversial remarks she has made about the transgender community in recent months. A lawsuit has been filed for $725 million. The suit names Travis Scott, Drake, Apple, and Astroworld organizers. Family of Axel Acosta Avila, who was 21 and one of the 10 victims of the Astroworld Festival, are among those bringing the legal case in the U.S. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of Avila's family and names event organizers Live Nation and Travis Scott, who was also performing at the time of the deadly crowd surge on November 5th. According to the petition filed by the Busby Law Firm in Harris County, Texas, the lawsuit is seeking damages for loss of mental and physical health and human life. Dozens of other suits have already been filed by survivors and family members of the victims. Adele's new album drops tomorrow. Her album, called 30, signifies the age she wrote the songs that will appear on the album. The singer has already dropped 3 songs from the album that have already become fan favorites, including one she dropped on social media this week.
I'll be the one to catch myself this time, trying to learn to lean into it all.
She said she went to hell and back making the album and that the experience was an emotional but a cathartic one. She adds she thinks the album could really help change people's lives, especially for those who have gone through a parent's divorce. Reviews have already called the album her rawest, riskiest, and best one yet. And the holiday season begins tonight with a tree lighting ceremony in the Distillery District. The Distillery Winter Village is the new name rebranded from the Toronto Christmas Market from 2019. This year, the market will feature 8 new vendor cabins, 12 food vendor cabins, buskers, carolers, and live entertainment among the Distillery District's existing local merchants. The holiday market is set to run from November 18th through December 31st. More than 700,000 people visit the market during its 6-week period. And that's it for entertainment and lifestyle. Let's go to Sarah for sports.
Thanks, Josh. I'm Sarah Pararia, and this is sports. Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Robbie Ray has won the 2021 American League Cy Young Award. The Cy Young Award is an annual award given to the best pitchers in the American League and the National League. Ray, 29, signed an $8 million one-year deal with the Blue Jays in 2020 and is the first Blue Jay to win the award since Roy Halladay in 2003. Ray posted a 2.84 earned run average and a 1.045 walks and hits per inning pitched with 248 strikeouts in a 193.1 innings across 32 starts. Ray received 29 out of the 30 first-place votes, beating out New York Yankees Garrett Cole and Chicago White Sox Lance Lynn. The Toronto Maple Leafs have reacquired Kyle Clifford from the St. Louis Blues. The trade was made with the Blues in exchange for future considerations. Clifford, 30, has 65 goals and 75 assists in 728 career NHL games between Los Angeles, Toronto, and St. Louis. Clifford first came to the Leafs in 2020 from the Los Angeles Kings. That slump at the end of October has taken a turn for the better, and the Leafs are currently 9-1 in their last 10 games. The Buds will take on the New York Rangers tonight at 7 at the Scotiabank Arena. The Raptors add OG Anunoby to their injury list and don't expect him to play in tonight's game. He joins Chris Boucher, Precious Achiuwa, and Yuta Watanabe with the left hip pointer injury he suffered during practice. Boucher, Achiuwa, and Anunoby are all questionable for tonight's game, with Watanabe still sidelined. Anunoby is averaging 2.1 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 2.7 assists per game, and is second for minutes played on the Raptors. The Raptors are away tonight in Utah, facing the Jazz at 9. The Toronto Argos beat the Hamilton Ticats and clinched the top spot in the Eastern Division. The Argos are on top, but are struggling with fan occupancy at BMO Field. Hassel Mehta has more on this story at Skedlive.com. This past weekend, both Humber Hawks men and women's soccer teams played in the CCAA Championship. The women hosted the tournament in Vaughan at the Ontario Soccer Centre and started the tournament as the OCAA bronze medalists. Unfortunately for the women, they finished the CCAA Championships without capturing a medal. For more details on the women's journey at Nationals, check out my story at Skedline.com. The men's team traveled to Calgary for their tournament hosted by the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology. The Humber Hawks walked away with a gold medal and are national champions. Talking about big wins in soccer, the big win of the week was the Canadian men's national team, who beat Mexico 2-0 in Edmonton on Tuesday night. They are currently at the top of their group for World Cup qualifiers in CONCACAF. Here's Ben and Nick to talk more on that.
Thanks, Sarah. Welcome now to Skedlive's special coverage of Canadian soccer. I'm Nicholas Barnsdale, and I'm joined today by Benedict Rhodes. The big story of the week, of course, is the Canadian men's national team's historic 2-1 victory over Mexico. Kyle Larin scored both goals for Les Rouges, and late heroics from goalkeeper Milan Borjan sealed Canada's first victory over Mexico in more than 20 years. Nearly 45,000 fans cheered on Canada's snow-covered Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. The win puts Canada into first place in the final stage of North America's World Cup qualifiers. Ben, what were the biggest moments of the game in your view?
Yeah, I think everything's talking about, of course, is Sam Adekubi jumping into the snow after celebrating Kyle Larin's second goal. But on the pitch, and more importantly, Thibaut Hutchinson broke Canada's all-time caps record. His 90th cap for Canada, and that's obviously a big number. Breaks Julian de Guzman's previous record of 89. And on the goal side of things as well, Kyle Larin had 2 goals, and goals number 21 and 22 of his international career, and that puts him tied atop the list as well with Dwayne De Rosario. What about you? What kind of things were you interested in that game?
Well, I really liked how the fans got behind the team. I mean, it's clear to see that soccer is gaining a lot of momentum in Canada right now, and you know, it was really cold in Edmonton, a lot of snow, and you know, everyone came out in support. There were tons of Canadian flags, and I think the attendance was about 45,000, something around there. So it was really great to see the supporters get out and really get behind the team. I know you've been following Canadian soccer for a long time, Ben, so what do you think this win means for the program?
I think it's huge. You mentioned the 45,000 fans. It's not something you see every day for the Canadian national team. It's one of the highest attendances they've ever had. Of course, first place in World Cup qualifying is also huge as well. They have 6 games left in their qualifying campaign, and you see the standings there, and they're within arm's reach of going to Qatar in 2022, and that'd be the second time ever they qualified, first time in more than almost 40 years, and obviously that'd be a huge moment and put a cap on Thibaut Hutchinson's career as well for being such a long time servant to this team.
For sure, and we're going to switch focuses now. We're going to take a look at the Canadian Premier League. The playoffs begin this weekend with 2 sudden death semi-final matches. Cavalry FC representing Calgary and Pacific FC representing Vancouver Island face off on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Hamilton's Forge FC will host York United for the second semi-final match at 3 o'clock on Sunday at Tim Hortons Field. Forge won the title in both of the league's first 2 seasons and looks to make it 3 straight. Forge clinched the top spot and home field advantage throughout the playoffs by beating York United last Tuesday. The pair will face off for the 7th time in 2021 in the semifinal. Cavalry took the 2nd seed and will look to take on 3rd place Pacific at home. Ben, what should we be looking out for in these semifinal matches?
Yeah, the big thing is going to be for the first game, Cavalry and Pacific. Marco Bustos, if he's healthy, he's the candidate for MVP this season. He missed half the season, but he's still in that conversation. It shows how good he is. And as well, on the other side of things, Cavalry's attack, they've struggled to score goals at times this season, but if they can find their scoring touch, they're as dangerous as any team in this league. And I don't know, we're both going to be at the game on Sunday, Ford versus York United at Tim Hortons Field. And what kind of things are you expecting to see in that game?
Well, I've been following York for quite some time now, and one thing that's been interesting is the dynamic between the two strikers, Julian Ulbricht and Lowell Wright. We've seen Ulbricht starting the last few games, but Wright has been great off the bench. I think he had a winner a few games back off the bench, and he always seems to make an impact. He gets involved in the game, so it'll be interesting to see who starts. Ulbricht's probably getting the call, but we never know what we're going to get from Lowell Wright, so hopefully he'll come in at some point and make a big impact. Fords, on the other hand, has that big game experience, obviously 2-time winners of the Canadian Premier League already. They've been to the CONCACAF Champions League, I believe, and they're going back next season already. So it's another big match for them, but they've got the experience. York now needs to turn it up, especially after losing 2 matches in a row against Cavalry in the regular season.
And there's a lot of soccer going on in the Canadian landscape, of course. And if that's not enough Canadian soccer for you, Toronto FC and CF Montreal will play each other in the Canadian Championship final. There's going to be a spot in the CONCACAF Champions League, as Nick mentioned, next year on the line. They'll potentially join Forge FC in that competition, and also, of course, the Voyageurs Cup.
Well, that's all we've got for you today from the Skedlive soccer segment. We thank you for watching, and we hope you have a great day. I'm Nick Barnsdale. That's Ben Rhodes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.